Did you miss me? Cause I missed you. Hello. How you doing tonight? We're back diving into the trenches of Reddit for another juicy pickle out of the barrel. Yeah, that seems to make the most sense. This type of stuff really pisses me off. You know what really grits my gears? Was it grinds my gears? Oh, it's a Family Guy joke. Ew. Really do not like Family Guy. I never liked Family Guy. That was a good joke, though. The grit my gears. You know what really grits my gears, Lois? Uh, yeah, this is not an uncommon story. I feel like I've come across similar sort of things like this in the past, but this one, I don't know. This just really is indicative of what they are all about. And at the end of the day, I think that it's a really good sort of like entry point into conversations about, prejudice and racism and this, that, and the other. So let's take a look at what happened here. This was posted to Reddit. Woman pays for everything at checkout, and this is what the Walmart employees do. So, little background here. So this woman so if you ever been to Walmart, some of you may not have been to Walmart. If you go to Walmart and you buy a bunch of stuff, it depends. It really depends. They'll check your receipt as you're leaving the exit. And, that really depends from person to person. It really depends. Oh, we got Mike Hideous here. Hey, Mike, how you doing? You demand, Mike. Yeah, it really depends person to person because, I've definitely I've bought things at Walmart. I might not be proud to admit it, but I've bought things at Walmart and I've walked out. And, it's funny in my experience as someone with my kind of skin color, they don't ever check my receipt. That's never been my experience. I know that someone maybe with my skin color that has been their experience. And so I can't, we can't make gross, broad generalizations here, you know. But what happened to this woman who is not white is, I feel so like just so par for the course in these kinds of situations. Let's just take a look instead of all this fucking preamble gobbledygook bullshit. Let's look at what this is. Woman buys a ton of stuff at Walmart and she is exiting and she's getting her receipt checked out, and they basically abduct her. They don't like literally abduct her. They like tell her, follow me, come to the back room, and we're gonna itemize everything on your receipt. Humiliating this woman. This is what is said in this article by Ben Lindstrom. This is from 2 years ago, a little over 2 years ago. A routine shopping trip turned into a humiliating legal nightmare for one Walmart customer after she was wrongfully accused of shoplifting despite having proof of purchase. The incident has since gone viral, igniting discussions around consumer rights, emotional distress claims, and legal options for victims of false accusations. The video posted on TikTok by her daughter shows the woman being stopped by 4 Walmart employees as she was leaving the store. They forced her to return inside, where 2 employees rummaged through her shopping cart and checked each item against her receipt. Other shoppers recorded the ordeal while the woman grew visibly distressed. Quote, my mom had an anxiety attack at Walmart because 4 employees grabbed her and accused her of stealing. They humiliated her in front of everyone, Yancey explained over in the overlaying text on the video. Let's go straight to the video before we continue. Just take a look at exactly what occurred. So here we go. So here's the video. Okay. So these are the two employees. Now, mind you, let's take a quick look at who these people are. Are these security guards? No, these are not security guards. These are just simple Walmart employees. That's it. Nothing more, right? Nothing more. Um, they're not security guards. They're not police. They are literally, they're the greeters. They're the people that are checking your receipts. And at their discretion, mind you, based on however they're trained or inundated at their job, they can just pull you aside, or they'll try to at least. Again, like, what are the rights of a consumer? You know what I mean? When I used to work in retail, and I used to work in all sorts of, hospitality and retail jobs. And, we couldn't stop people from leaving a store. In fact, we couldn't interfere at all in any way, shape, or form. So whether someone was shoplifting or not, it was not our business. And sure, as a retail employee in the 2000s, I definitely, there's definitely like a mentality of like, this is where I work, and if you're stealing from where I work, then you're stealing from me. Or what I think what it's more about, the psychology. You're trying to get one over on me, and I'm not going to let you get one over on me. So it's like an ego thing too. And then, in many cases and circumstances, whether who's qualified to determine overall what is or isn't, a racial profiling or racially motivated is not for me to say. I don't know. I can't speak to that, but it does happen, and I think this is sort of like, you don't ever see the woman on the video in question, but if you go to the daughter's TikTok, you see that she is a person of color. And it's quite possible that, only one of her parents is a person of color. And maybe it's not her mother who's the person of color, and that she is, mixed in some way, shape, or form, interracial in some way, shape, or form. Again, we're making there's a lot of assumptions that could or could not be made. So I got to be careful here. But the point is that, you know, in going to the daughter's TikTok and seeing that she, you know, is, a person of color, sort of intensifies, it changes the whole sort of conversation a bit. It brings it into that sort of area in the same way as we've talked about many times on the channel. When casting Dwayne Jones as Ben in Night of the Living Dead, suddenly the entire script, all the antagonism becomes racially charged simply because Ben is played by a black guy. You know what I mean? And so to an extent, when someone, especially with someone who is unfairly and wrongfully accused, is a person of color, it suddenly brings, race into the conversation. You know what I mean? In that kind of way. So you got these two Walmart employees going through these groceries. Now, here's something that, well, let's start the video and then I'll continue my little spiel here. Let's listen to what is happening. This is what the tagline here says. My mom had an anxiety attack at Walmart because four employees grabbed her on the way out, accused her of stealing in a store full of people, laughing and recording, thinking she actually stole something, not even thinking she actually stole something, not even a real apology. Sorry, there's no punctuation here. Terrible, just terrible. Yes, absolutely humiliating. One thing I can say is that I have definitely been in a store, and maybe not judged by the color of my skin, but absolutely judged by the way I was dressed. I wasn't dressed like this. I was, maybe I looked like a goon, and therefore I'm walking around and maybe like look like someone who's not going. Implicit bias. That's what it is. It's implicit bias. You know what I mean? I look like someone who's not going to buy something in said store, and therefore There are people, it comes off as customer service. Hi, can I help you? Can I help you with anything? And it's like, no, you don't really want to help me with anything. You want to let me know that you're here and that you're watching me to make sure that I'm not stealing something. And it's amazing. One thing I can attest to, one thing I definitely can say is that, like, you know, when you feel like someone thinks you're stealing, like when someone thinks you're stealing or when someone treats you like you're stealing, you almost feel like you're stealing too. You almost feel guilty even if you're not guilty. It's like it's a strange sensation. So, all right, I keep talking. Let's listen to what happened.
Should have 3 spaghetti meatballs.
You guys treat everybody like this?
Ma'am, we have treated you with utmost respect.
I mean, this is fucking disgusting. This guy, Alec, his name's Alec. And it's like, they're just, look at him. He's holding a can of soup. Let me ask you a question. How much do you think that can of soup costs, in all honesty? Like, let's put like first, obviously the woman wasn't stealing to begin with, but like, let's say that even she was. Let's say figuratively somebody was stealing for whatever reason, right, wrong, up, down, left, right. A can of fucking soup for 86 cents at a fucking Walmart, one of the richest, greediest corporations that treats people like scum and treats their employees like scum. That doesn't automatically justify stealing. I'm just saying that they're paying people. They're paying these people $7.25 an hour to do this, to go in the back and check to make sure someone's not stealing 86-cent soup cans. It kind of reminds me of, like, Target has this problem right now. Target sales are going down. And other big box store sales are going down because they're putting everything in boxes. They're so worried. They're more worried about people stealing deodorant than they are about encouraging people to buy deodorant that are going to buy the deodorant. You got to wait for the person to unlock the case. And by the time, you can even flag someone down because there's nobody around anymore because they have fewer people on their workforce. You decide, I don't even want to buy this deodorant anymore. You walk out the store. You following me? You following what I'm saying in this hypothetical? And so in this penny wise, pound poor mentality of, humiliating this poor woman, digging through her bags, looking at soup cans. I mean, this is despicable.
You drug me through Walmart like I stole, and you said go to the room and give her my ID.
I asked you to come with us up to
Okay.
the service.
Well, I'm just reviewing.
And this guy, like, legit, this guy's making like $7.25 an hour, and this is how he feels powerful. This is how he feels powerful. This is where he derives power from. He's like, his dick is rock fucking hard because he's, got this woman in the back who's fucking humiliated and embarrassed and just wants to get the fuck out of there. Let alone the fact that, like, and this was someone else said this in the comments, they are putting her food on the floor. Imagine spending, I don't know how much money she spent there. Let's just say, for instance, though, let's say that she spent around $100 on all that food. You know what I mean? On all that food, she spent around $100. Someone takes the food that you just bought because they think you are stealing, even though you are not, and puts all that food on the ground that you just purchased. Would you really fucking keep that food? And that's part of the story here. Well, I'll get to that in a second. Let's keep going.
For my protection.
No one is threatening you.
This is the most embarrassing thing ever when you come to Walmart and come here every day and spend hundreds of dollars. I spend hundreds of dollars in the store.
So there you go. She spends hundreds of dollars in the store.
A week.
Ma'am, we are trying to do this.
Yes.
Please.
Okay. So finish.
You are free to record. However, you do not need to sit here and give us commentary.
You hear what this guy said? Alec says, Alec, and what does that say? Amy Lee. Alec says, you are free to record, but you're not free to give commentary. Is that out of the handbook, Alec, that you can, do this? That who are you to tell this woman what she can and cannot do? Thank God she was recording. I don't know where Alec is today. I don't know if he's still, working as a greeter at Walmart or whatever, or if he's, out and about, harassing other people. I saw elsewhere in the comments, it's like this guy gives off here. Why am I saying? Let me find the exact acting like they get paid enough to care. There is an update, and that's what we're reading right now. Someone said something along the lines of this guy has energy, failed policeman exam energy, meaning like he wanted to be a cop and couldn't cut it. So he's flagging people down at Walmart to he was fired by Walmart. That's great. Good. He's a wannabe cop in my comment. It's so see-through. Yeah. Yeah, here it is. Here's the comment. He absolutely gave off the I failed the police exam 7 times 5. I could not agree more. He's sitting there. You're free to record. Oh, thank you. I'm free to record. But leave your commentary on the side. Just reeking of please let me have authority over someone else. Because that's what all this stuff is. It ends up just being a power trip.
3.
Yeah.
I'm not a thief. I'm a Christian.
Said anything about me?
You did, because you pulled me back here like I stole something. This is the most embarrassing thing.
076.
076.
Look at that. 076. They are so, and then, this kind of turns into like a race, because here's the thing. And it's kind of like, in a weird way, it's very similar to what's happening right now in colleges with like ChatGPT and whatnot. Colleges are like worried about kids cheating with ChatGPT and, making accusations. They accuse kids of plagiarizing or whatever, using ChatGPT to write essays. But here's the thing. If those colleges are wrong, they are liable for the worst kind of lawsuit that will just destroy the school, right? So when they make these accusations, they better be right, because to be wrong is there. You can't be wrong. To be, excuse me, the seltzer is causing ruckus. To be wrong is, I don't know. I'm trying to think of a rhyme right now that's good. To be wrong, you got to go long if you want. No, I don't know. I can't think of anything. Someone think of a good rhyme in the comments about being wrong in any case. And the same thing here, because if these people, these employees, these idiots who are checking this poor woman's bag, if they are wrong, then she's filming this, and this clip did go viral. It's been viewed. 2.4 million people have seen and witnessed what Alec and Amy Lee did to this poor woman in Walmart. You know what I mean? And eventually resulted in Alec losing his job. So when Alec decided that he was going to flag down this woman who, literally spent hundreds of dollars at Walmart, as she said, and, bought everything that she put in her cart, he was putting his job on the line, because for him to be wrong would, potentially mean losing his job, because in these situations, when something goes viral, the company wants to do what's best for the company and protect itself against its, employee. In this case, I think that what Alec did, did deserve. I mean, he deserved what he got, let's put it this way. He cooked that food, and now he's got to eat it. He made that bed, now he's got to sleep it, right?
Cokes on there, Sprite's on there.
But, I wonder if somewhere in the back of his mind, he is sweating bullets, because it's like, man, we are getting to the bottom of these groceries. And boy, if we're wrong, it's going to come back to bite us in some way, shape, or form. You know what I mean? And yeah.
$2 sweet cakes.
Yep.
Yep.
How many?
I mean, just the idea that they are like with their grubby little fingers just rooting around in this woman's personal business. This is none of their business. And, when things are not your business, things can get sticky. And you know what else is sticky? Riot stickers. And you know what's really great about Riot stickers is they have a brand new advertisement video that we're going to play after I do my little spiel here, where you can get 1,000 stickers for $79. If you go to riotstickers.com/Frumess, that's FRUMESS, riotstickers.com/Frumess, link down in the description where you can get 1,000 stickers for $79, 3-inch by 3-inch vinyl stickers that are weatherproof. They've got a UV coating that protects them from the sun. And, you know, you can't go wrong when it comes to riotstickers.com. How does this story end? What happened in this situation? Tune in to find out.
Riot stickers, we are the bomb. Riot stickers, we are the bomb. Riotstickers.com. We are the bomb. Riot stickers, we are the bomb. Riot stickers, we are the bomb. Riotstickers.com. We are the bomb. We are the bomb. We are the bomb. We are the bomb.
Yeah, Riot Stickers. And that's a promise. Wow, the new song is tight. Nice work, Sharpie Riot. So, how did things end up here? This person, look at him. Look at Alec digging his grubby little fingers into this bag. How horrible.
2 folders in the shirt.
I just want to say I am outraged and disgusted.
TCHB.
How many?
3 of those.
Okay.
And a bread.
Right.
That's it.
Literally, look at them. They're putting her groceries on the floor. On the fucking floor. My God. Hey, Sharpie, I'll call you real soon, buddy. I just wanted to let you know that well, as you just saw, we just played the new video. It's great. Good job.
That's it? All right. This
Can
on
I-
the bottom has not been scanned, ma'am.
No, they were scanned. I did scan them on the gun.
not.
I did scan them.
So look, Alec is so sure of these on the bottom have not been scanned. And woman's like, yeah, they were.
She just told you. She's showing you. I scanned them, sir.
Look at him. Look at his face as he realizes that he made the mistake.
Yeah.
Apology to them, sir.
Look at this.
You.
Look at this.
She's showing you. I scanned them, sir.
Yeah,
Apology. Thank you.
On the bottom wasn't scanned.
Thank you.
No, I said everything was scanned.
Thank you. I would like an apology. Can I get an apology?
misunderstood
And
from
I'm
what
getting
she
a.
said.
I misunderstood. There's no apology. This fucker doesn't even apologize. Can't even admit that he was wrong. I got to tell you, you know, if you wanted to put like loser, like what does a loser look like next to a picture of a dictionary, put the picture of Alec right here. I mean, this guy is just talk about a loser. God, I get so angry just like seeing this, thinking about this, looking at this. Oh, that's it. So now what eventually happened afterwards? I mean, it's exactly what you think might have happened afterwards. The situation escalated when the woman was taken to a side room and asked to show her ID, although one of the employees eventually confirmed that all the items had been paid for. The experience left the customer shaken. She was heard saying, "This is the most embarrassing thing ever. I come in here every day and spend hundreds of dollars a week." Hundreds of dollars a week. Exploring legal options. Following the incident, Yancey stated that her mother is now seeking legal advice from a personal injury lawyer. They are considering a false accusation lawsuit, which may include claims for emotional distress, public defamation, and civil rights violations. I hope that she got paid. Alec was voted most likely to suck eggs in high school. Let me tell you something. If you're having a hard day, if you're not sure if you're navigating a situation in a correct way, just ask yourself, am I acting like Alec right now? Don't be an Alec, okay? Don't be an Alec. Nobody likes an Alec. You know, I mean, fuck, man. I mean, it's just the whole situation is so fucked, if you ask me. It really is. This is so fucked. I hope she got paid, man. Now, what did she do with all those groceries? What happened to all the groceries? She returned all the groceries and decided to never shop at Walmart again. Yancey added the follow-up comment. We tried to talk to the store manager, but when they didn't respond, we contacted a lawyer instead. After the video gained over 18 million views. Okay, so I guess eventually or in some way, shape, or form, 18 million views and more than 78,000 comments. Walmart issued an official statement on its social media platforms. The company said that the behavior displayed by its employee was completely unacceptable and that the employee in question had been terminated because, of course, Walmart is always going to side on the side where their bottom line is affected. We do not tolerate actions that go against our company values. The individual is no longer employed by Walmart, the company said. Despite Walmart's response, the video has sparked broader concerns about how large retailers train staff and handle security procedures. Many people are now asking, what are your rights when you're wrongly accused? And the truth is, man, they can't act that way. Sharpie says he certainly shouldn't have acted like that. But the thing we have to remember is that those employees don't have a fulfilling job and that they live with anger. It's sad all around. I agree, man. I totally agree. And that's what Sharpie, I don't know if you heard the comment before about someone saying that he has the vibes of someone who passed the police exam 7 times. And I feel like that's Alec. I don't know Alec out of a hole in the wall, but that's the type of energy that he is giving off. It's like for him, it's like this is where he gets the one time of the day where he gets to be in control. And he ends up inflicting, and sometimes when like these personal injury lawyer things happen and they use words like, emotional duress and all this stuff, emotional distress and, that sort of thing, as a means of lawsuit and getting money, it's usually exaggerated or hyperbolic in some way. But in cases like this, for a poor woman like that, I 100% believe that she had personal distress. She might be affected. Think about every time that woman goes in after being humiliated like that, every time she goes into a store, a big box store, that she might fear that could happen to her again. And therefore, like I said, I'm glad Walmart fired the guy. I hope she gets paid. And the idea that this guy, Alec, thought that it was a great idea, that he really thought that an 86-cent soup can was worth more than your job. We're living in a really crazy times right now where it's really hard to have jobs, it's really hard to be employed, whatever. It's life is not easy, right? For the most part, it's just, or it can be difficult. Things are more expensive when your job is on the line, when your job is more valuable, when you put a can of, 80s, an 86-cent can. I'm using that as an example. I don't actually know how much the can costs. I'm just saying it's the point of the matter is that what was that going to get Alec? A pat on the head from his floor manager? Like what was he ultimately going to get from that situation? So you have Walmart who took a customer that was spending hundreds of dollars in their store and not only is never going to spend a cent in their store again, but is going to sue and probably get paid. And again, Walmart is a big evil corporation and fuck them. I would be lying out my asshole if I said I didn't shop at Walmart from time to time. Every once in a while, I got to go to Walmart. Every once in a while, it happens. What can I say? Do I try to avoid it if I can? Yeah, of course I try to avoid it. But shit, man, fucking eggs are expensive. I'm not buying eggs at Walmart. That was a bad example. I am buying basketball shorts at Walmart. That is true. They have really good basketball shorts at Walmart. I'm not going to lie. Sharpie says, and think of how many customers treated Alec like shit prior to this. Yes, maybe they treated him like shit, and maybe he in turn was like, I'm going to show her. It's possible. That's an interesting perspective as well, that Alec another way of saying that would be to say that Alec is projecting his anger on his life situation, potentially, we don't actually know, potentially projecting his anger about his life situation onto this woman who's passing through spending $100, you know. Um, I don't think you are defending Alec, but it's interesting to look at every kind of perspective here. Alec is very clearly the bad guy in the wrong, an idiot. But in this, at the same time, it's like, how do people get to where they are? How does Alec get to that point where he thought this was a good idea? The thing about a guy like Alec is maybe whether he profiled her or not, like whatever the case was, like Alec thought he was doing the right thing. He thought he was following orders and doing his job. And paradoxically, it's not. He got the opposite has happened. I want to close with a story, my own personal story of a situation that's very similar to this one. Not very similar, but here's what it is. So I used to work as a waiter at PF Chang's many, many, many years ago. And sometimes on my break, I would take lunch outside of working in that, disgusting, greasy, hot kitchen. I would go and I would take my break at a Barnes and Noble. And sometimes I would take lunch with me. Why? Because lunch was free from my job, so I had like a salad or something that I took with me to go. And then I would spend my hard-earned money on one of the frozen coffee drinks in that Barnes Noble, which I did frequently and often. And so here I am on my lunch break, sitting at a table. Was the policy of Borders Books, the corporate policy is, don't, you can't bring outside food or whatever into Barnes Noble. I brought my salad in. I was going to eat my salad, and then as a dessert, as like a, sort of an after whatever, an after aperitif, I was going to get myself an iced coffee drink at the Starbucks that's inside of the Borders Books, Barnes Noble was. And I was going to pick up an issue of Rue Morgue or Fangoria or whatever. And I sit for the rest of my break. I sit and I, thumb through the magazine while I'm drinking my drink. And then I go back to work. Right. That's what I do. I'm sitting there eating my salad, and I hear a voice come up from behind me. It is some kind of floor manager. And I hear, and mind you, I'm in my fucking rags that I work in, my grease-filled, black uniform that I, slinging Chinese food in. I'm tired. I'm dirty. I just want to eat my food, get my drink, read my magazine, and go back to work because I got to go back for a second shift. And I hear from behind me the snarkiest, like this comment. He says, something like, I forgot about, man, I can't believe I can't remember what he said. I suppose it's somewhere in my video journal, actually. If I were to look back, I bet you I recorded what he said. He said something along the lines of like, having lunch, are we? He used are we, like saying we. And it was so disgustingly condescending. And he basically dressed me down, for bringing outside food in. And he made me feel about this big. He really made me feel like a piece of shit. And mind you, I come into this Barnes and Noble all the friggin' time. It's right next to where I live. And I'm in there. I'm not in there every day, but I am in there a lot. I'm buying drinks in there a lot. And when that happened and he told me to get up and go, I did. I got up and go and I didn't buy my drink. But you know what I did do? I've never done this before, but I was just so incensed. You know, I called their corporate office or whatever, and I told them what this guy did to me. And I basically, and the reason why I'm bringing this up, what made me think of this in the situation is that just in the way that this woman spent hundreds of dollars in Walmart, and Alec was so concerned about an 86-cent can of, fucking soup, that he basically ensured that this woman was never going to shop there again, that he was going to lose his job, and that she would sue and for a large cash settlement, right? And this was sort of like a lesser sort of example of that. This guy made me feel like an asshole, and I never bought another coffee from that Starbucks ever again. The coffee drink was like $5, and I'm coming in there at least 3-4 times a week. I'm spending $20 in this Barnes and Noble a week buying coffee from them. It's predictable revenue, right? They're going to get $20 every single week out of me because I like coming there and I like buying their coffee in a world where, Amazon and the internet is slowly destroying brick and mortar stores. And you have these anchors, coffee shops that bring people to bookstores to buy books. Oh, I'll have a coffee and I'll buy a book. Or, oh, I'm going to buy a book and have a coffee, whichever. And when that manager said that to me, he was basically saying, I don't give a fuck that you spend $20 a week in my shop or whatever. You're, eating food on the outside. And you want to know something? Even though it was their corporate policy to like not have outside food for whatever reason, whatever it was, whether it's because they want you to buy food in the coffee stand or whatever, he basically was saying, I don't give a fuck that you spend $20 a week in my store. In a world where it is impossible to get people to spend $20, whatever, or whatever, X amount of dollars in a brick and mortar store. You know what I mean? And I never did. I stopped going there for coffee, and I stopped like frequenting that place. I just stopped. I went across the street to another place called Hastings Tea, and that's where I started buying my coffee, and, yeah, it's just like what is the point of all that? The point of all that is that, like, sometimes it does not pay to worry about the details, when it comes to the bigger picture. That's the ultimate lesson. How does that apply in your life today? Whether it's something that happened to you or something that involves you, I don't know. But, if you have a situation where the bigger picture, you're comparing the bigger picture to the smaller details, worry about the bigger picture. I think that's what I think personally. Don't be like Alec. Don't be like this fucking idiot Barnes Noble. Let me tell you something. That Barnes Noble doesn't exist anymore. It's gone. It's shuttered. Did it shutter because I stopped going there to buy coffee? No. But I'm sure that like those kinds of attitudes towards customers, or those types of attitudes towards, in-person commerce certainly didn't help, or didn't increase, the longevity. People really need to consider these things, there's nothing more important than the lifeblood that is a dedicated, loyal customer base that is coming to you, and again, it's a weird thing to say what I just said when we're, in relation to Walmart, because Walmart doesn't give a fuck, and they'll never give a fuck, and they're the epitome of not giving a fuck. But like, I don't know. Winston Smith says, not so noble of the Barnes. No, not at all. Sharpie says, I have a similar story where I got kicked out of a lobby of a casino while I was waiting to meet the group I was with. In my opinion, it was based on my clothes and my hairstyle. Fuck them. Yeah. Again, Sharpie, earlier in the show, it was talking about the exact same thing. You're judged. You know what that is, Sharpie? That's what's known as implicit bias. You were judged for how you looked and not what you were about or what you were doing, meeting up with friends, going to a casino where you probably would have spent a lot of money gambling, or maybe you did eventually. But the idea that they alienated you based on the way that you look, they judged you without knowing you. And that's basically what happened to this woman that, with Alec. Now, again, is the fact that, did the color of her skin play into whatever Alec's profiling of her was? I don't know. But, typically, I don't know, man. Walmart's a fucking crazy place. People are fucking crazy. Crazy shit does happen at Walmart. Who knows what young Alec saw in Walmart prior to that? I will say this. I'm sure he was probably treated like garbage. He was probably treated by garbage by some and, got intoxicated off the power in other situations. And that's my show tonight. Cautionary tale. If you enjoy discussing Reddit things, send me some Reddit things that you think would be interesting to discuss here on the show, and we'll take a look. Yeah. I don't know what else to say. It's late. I'm gonna go. I want to finish this season of You. The show You. I finished Handmaid's Tale season 6. It was kind of lackluster, to be honest. I was not. We have one more tale from Winston Smith. He says, I was in my work clothes and bought beer after work as I left and was told I was going to need to see a receipt. I was like, damn. Was that at Walmart? Yeah. I mean, that's, again, just this like ridiculous idea, especially for again from a place like Walmart where they're making so much money. They have government subsidies. They have all this stuff. They are, they shouldn't be called Walmart. They're welfare mart in the sense that the amount of government welfare that they get, and just the hundreds of billions of dollars, and they're worried about a soup can. They're worried about their $7.25 employees, checking ladies out for soup cans. Fuck. Just fuck. Did I watch The Rehearsal? That's the best show later. I have not watched The Rehearsal yet. I will check it out. Sharpie, I will call you back soon and we will discuss things. But I'm going to go. So with that, peace, hair grease. We'll see you real soon. Ha cha 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 cha.